Hey everybody, welcome to Review with Me, your review guide of shows, movies, and everything in between. Be sure to click the like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get on with this review. Let's go! Let's go! I am fresh out of my nighttime shower and I'm ready to review Married at First Sight, season 18, episode 18. This is the finale episode. You know, there's going to be 3 more episodes after this. So let's get started. As you know, I have my note-taking guide, and I have 1, 2, hold on, 3. Look at me. I'm like 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not even done. Okay, finally 8. I'm done. So much to discuss this review. So, I mean, where do we even begin? Do I even want to start chronologically? Because a mem. I don't know what it's giving. I don't know if it's giving paid actor or desperation. I mean, both could still be desperation. Nonetheless, let's get into it, child. Okay, we are 2 days after decision day. Again, we're picking up from where we left off from the last episode, which is where we're stationed at Juan's gym lounge or warehouse, right? And it's right at that part when Madison is talking about how Michelle feels regarding this whole situation between, the whole cheating. Madison I wrote down here, it seems like Madison is challenging Michelle, yet Michelle is standing her ground. Michelle is clear. She's articulate. And again, I'm going to say this every review, regardless of how poorly behaved Michelle was towards David, particularly in the beginning of the season. Understandably so, why people dislike her and why she was the villain for quite some time. I still think Michelle has a leg to stand on and she has every right to be upset. Okay, I don't think the feeling like the pity party or the sympathy party should only be reserved for Alan. I don't. I think Michelle deserves some sympathy because regardless of her not really caring for David like that, it's the principle, dog. It's the principle. And Michelle made the point that, look, you were my friend. I trusted you as a friend. I vented to you about my marriage with David. And for you to be the one cheating or being the cheatee, I find that to be disrespectful. And honestly, I'm here for it. I think Michelle is well within her right. She is absolutely warranted for feeling how she feels and standing on business. And what I loved about the scene was Carla was having Michelle's back. And suddenly I was seeing this camaraderie, this friendship between Carla and Michelle that wasn't evident before, in my opinion. Anyway, Carla's speaking up for Michelle. Madison's being purposely obtuse here. She's saying, so much happened. I don't know if I can really get, because I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. It was like a ping pong match. But Madison wasn't really saying much. And you could tell Michelle was just molly-whopping her ass with her words. Madison's like, what did I lie about? What did I lie about? I said that text wasn't for me. That text, he didn't send me that text. Yeah, because he accidentally sent it to his wife. It was meant for you. And later on, we further see them make a joke about that. But nonetheless, Madison is having this anger or this she has this demeanor of don't mess with me. Don't, like, oh, I'm not scared. But she was mute. The whole time she was mute and she had no leg to stand on. She looked foolish. And I felt like during that time, Madison didn't know what to say. I felt like she low-key felt like, yeah, I'm doing too much here. Carla, again, yeah. So Carla is backing up Michelle. And you see Camille in the background with her big ass teeth. Girl, can you have an opinion? Hey, Camille be getting on my nerve, just looking stupid and dumb in the background. And then a man wants to get back in the conversation, wants to make about her and Akechi. So she's feeling like, oh shit. Nonetheless, David ends up pulling Madison away, and he says, come on, let's go. Can I talk to you for a second? And what was that about though? Like, why couldn't you know what? I think it's because he probably felt like Madison was not handling Michelle, and Madison was further embarrassing herself. That's what I think it was. He had to save his girl. Madison, I wrote down here, nothing's a mistake, something like that. And look, I'm not saying she has to feel like my love for David is a mistake. No, but if she really was sorry about how things were handled, right? Just the poor handling of how they came about this type of relationship, then you should just stand on that, right? You should be sympathetic. You should be apologetic. She's saying things like, oh, well, what does it matter to you? You don't even care about David. You don't even care about, like, girl, it's not even about David. It's the principle. That's number one. And you are my friend. So you lied to my face and you acted like I was cuckoo in the head. Madison truly has the audacity. That's what I wrote down here. So I'm like trying to catch myself. David and Madison, they head to a tattoo shop. Y'all remember in the first couple of episodes, David reveals to his wife, Michelle, letting her know that he has an ex's name tatted on him. And Michelle was immediately turned off. Well, even further. And he mentioned then that his goal is to remove that name and replace it with something else. Michelle's like, I'm not going with you. Like that's not cute to me. That ain't got shit to do with me. You should have figured that out before you got married. But in this case here, Madison finds that to be very attractive. She's liking it. She's excited about it. She's holding his hand. They're making out. They can't keep their hands off of each other. So the tattoo is replaced with this like beating heart, it looks like. I'm not big on tattoos, y'all. I don't find them to be attractive. Sorry. It's just ridiculous. It's too much. But hey, if you like it, you like it. What happened? They talk about the okay. So before they left, right? So the first scene when they were all at the warehouse, when David pulled Madison away, he was trying to like give her a little pep talk before they left. And he smooches her, he gives her a kiss. And it was, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, this is one of many kisses that they've had. Like, why are we acting like this is their first kiss? So they bring this kiss up at this tattoo shop. And Madison is saying, wow, you surprised me with your kiss. As if we're supposed to believe that was the very first kiss. Y'all kiss at the honeymoon. Can y'all please stop pissing in my face and telling me it's raining? So we get to Juan and Carla. Juan's talking about, oh, they're back at their shared apartment. I guess they're packing up. Y'all should have been packed up. What are we As soon as it was the day before decision day, y'all should have had things packed and ready to go. But Juan wants to know, hey, can we still be friends? Juan, y'all been friends. Y'all already, it's enough. Y'all been friends for 2 months now in this marriage, this platonic ass marriage. Y'all are friends enough. Carla is clearly showing hesitation. She's like, what does friendship mean to you? Because, I really don't want to spend more time with you. I want my own space. And she's not interested. She's not interested in a friendship. Because as soon as someone says, what does friendship mean to you? That means I'm not trying to be your friend. Camille finally tells us that Thomas and her have decided on their living quarters. It has finally been decided upon, and Camille is moving into Thomas's place. Thomas had a plan, and he told her what the plan was finally. It was nice to see them get acclimated in this space that's Thomas's, but is now Camille's, right? Because now they're husband and wife, or they've been husband and wife, but now they're living here together as husband and wife, and it's very cute to see them making things theirs. Thomas's place is pretty small. Now, I do not remember this place when we were introduced to them. Like, I really don't. Like, y'all remember this spot? I don't remember Thomas's place being shown to us. So he wasn't lying about that. It's really, really small. But hey, hopefully they're just there for 3 months and they can move on to something better. So Michelle and Carla, they're hanging out, just them two, little girls, little divorcee date. Carla says that, Michelle says to Carla that she really appreciates Carla for encouraging her to confront Madison, and kind of really had her back when it came to the whole confrontation thing at the retreat. And Carla's like, yeah, of course. Yeah. That's Carla. What happened? Reviewed the event that took place at Juan's warehouse, babe. Okay, yeah. So they reviewed, they talked about what happened at the warehouse, the whole babe off. So when that clip came on, it seemed like Madison was mollywopping Michelle, right? It seemed like Madison was the one who started off with the babe thing. But really, it was Michelle who said, "Don't get it wrong, babe." And then Madison said it in return. And she's like, "Oh, now you're babying me?" Like, it was just that. But the whole time, Michelle had that heat for Madison. And I don't know why editing made it seem the other way around, but Michelle won. Michelle won that confrontation, or that conversation, whatever, that argument. And I forgot to mention that. So going back to that, Michelle felt, though she was clearly eating them up and doing so very, very articulately, very professional. As soon as they left, Michelle's like, "I just feel so upset. Like, I'm going to cry right now. I'm going to cry." And I sympathize with her. Honestly, I sympathize with her because I feel like the people get caught up in the optics, right? You see Madison and David walking in, matching. Madison looking like the devil. David looking like the devil's helpmate. It's intimidating in a sense, because even though she said herself, Michelle says that she doesn't think they will last anyway, but just the appearance that they are presenting makes it seem like they're a united front, and it feels like a slap in the face. And she probably is comparing it to her own life, where she doesn't have someone in her life right now romantically to get her mind off of it, right? So it's all of these things slapping in her face. Madison being flippant and disrespectful towards her. David talking about, to be honest with you, that's David. So I can understand what Michelle was feeling about, that whole situation. So the girls, Michelle and Carla, they bonded over their marriage never being consummated, and they only kiss at the wedding. Now, what's funny about that is that's such a joke to me. You mean to tell me the whole, and I believe them, don't get me wrong, I watched the whole season, but it's so disappointing. I would be pissed. Like, dang, 2 whole months and we never consummated and we only kissed once? Well, I call BS on that, because I remember Carla, she kissed Juan at the honeymoon. But that was it. So we get to Thomas and Camille. They're at Thomas's place again. They're rearranging Thomas's closet, and they're just again making space for themselves as a couple, and it's a cute sight to see. Madison is sitting with her dad, telling him, I'm a whore. The first husband you met, yeah, I cheated on him with another husband from the cast. And I like him. I really like him. Now, what I don't like about Madison, she acts like, first she puts on a front in front of Michelle, talking about There's no mistake. I'm feeling good. You know, me and my man, my man, my man, my man. But in front of her dad, she's saying, quote, some days are better than others. Where is this lack of confidence? Like, where was this lack of confidence then? So how are you really feeling? Like, if you're really standing 10 toes down on your relationship with David, stand 10 toes down regardless of who you're talking to about the relationship. So really stand 10 toes down in front of your dad. Like, yeah, dad, you know, it wasn't conventional how me and David got together, but our connection is undeniable and I'm exploring it. Period. Not, you know, some days are better than others. Madison, are you a victim? And that's the point that Michelle was making. I'm going back to that same first scene. Michelle was making that point. She was saying, you act like you're the victim. You act like everyone wronged you. You wronged everyone else. Like, what are we saying? She says she felt shame. Madison says she felt shame and guilt about her connection with David. Again, where's this energy when you're with the cast? Like, what's really going on, Madison? How do you really feel? The dad eventually says, you know, don't beat yourself up. And he was inquiring about where did this connection come from? Like, where did this David connection come from? Like, he was totally off guard with it. And trying to think about it, I don't recall the dad being really a part of this situation for Madison. Yes, that first scene in the first episode of, I don't know if it was the first scene, but the only scene we know between Madison's dad and Madison, or with Alan, actually, her dad telling Alan that, hey, you should get your STD checking, you know, you should get that checked out. So I say all that to say, I don't think Madison is someone who really infiltrate her relationship with her family. So that's why her dad is saying, where is this David connection coming from? Like, I had no idea you, like, oh, okay. You know, so, and then while she was married to Alan, there was no point when Madison was bringing Alan around her family. Never mind her friends, her family. I think Madison, she likes to live in a bubble. She likes to live in a bubble, keep her relationship separate from her friends, from her family, and kind of see how far she could go with that. That's what I think. Her dad says the heart wants what it wants. And I mean, that's true. At the end of the day, that is true. The heart wants what it wants. And if this is what they're going to pursue, then it's what they're going to, like, it is what it is. We got to move on. So we get to MM. We get to MM is getting ready for a date, child. Here, the rest of this damn review is gonna be focused on MM at this point, because MM, what's going on? MM, come here. Come here. MM's getting ready for this date. I don't know why the camera angle was like that. Like, why be seeing up your crotch, girl? If you don't get that sticky thing to put on the bathroom mirror as you get ready, what is this angle? She's meeting with her childhood friend. I mean, I guess that's loosely a title here, because she briefly recalls him from her 5th grade class many moons ago, but she doesn't even remember him fully. Like, it's not like we knew each other so well. We were super close back in elementary or middle school, and we just rekindled. No, it's like, oh yeah, you are Brandon from 5th grade. That's what it was. So they're rekindling and they're talking about what's going on in their life right now. She's asking him some questions. He reveals that he's staying at his sister's couch. Amam's like, you know, Amam's with the questions. Y'all know Amam with the questions, like, so why is that? Akechi would have been, don't hit me with the answer stick. He would have been said that. But in this case, Brandon was very forthcoming. And he said, I'm staying on my sister's couch because I'm going through a divorce right now. Hello? I'm staying on my sister's couch because I'm going through a divorce right now. Oh, like me? I mean, they got something in common already. He goes in and tells us about he tells her, we're listening as viewers, He tells her that he was married to his wife for 10 years. After 6 months of dating, he describes the marriage as he was in the right car, but on the wrong street. Now, throughout this episode, y'all, Brandon talks in these lines, these like pickup lines or these riddles. He's more the poetic one than Akechi ever was. But yes, he says his marriage was in the right car, but the wrong street. I guess that's just to say it was the right. I mean, the marriage was healthy enough. Like nothing was entirely wrong with the marriage. It just was with the wrong person. You know, sometimes you could just be with someone, y'all are together for convenience. It flows, it makes sense, but there's no growth, there's no prosperity, there's no strong romantic chemistry or sexual chemistry, right? So it's the wrong street. Yeah, I mean, I get what he's trying to say here. Mem talks about Akechi and says, he wasn't kind to me. He wasn't kind to me. He was nasty towards me. He would yell at me. And I love the way that she described how Akechi treated her. It definitely came off truthful. I mean, I'm not trying to act like it's not truthful. I'm saying it that way because later on we'll get to it. But Amep says something later on that made me think, oh, even more. Maybe it wasn't all Akechi throughout their marriage that wasn't behaving correctly. But yeah, she says that he wasn't kind to her. Brandon tells us more about himself. He's a lieutenant firing coach. I don't know what that means. He's a real estate. No, he said he has his real estate license. Okay. Can y'all stop? Those who have real estate licenses, can you just say you are a real estate agent? What does one have to do with like, I guess what I'm saying is, are you practicing real estate? Are you currently are you selling homes? If you're not, and you just got your license, why are you telling me that? Like, go sell a house. Like, what are we saying? I'm in real estate, or I got a real estate license. It's like you telling me, oh, I got a high school degree, I got my master's degree. Okay, but what is your job? How do you make money from it? He also says he's a volleyball coach. Okay. What is your main source of income, sir? And how much is it? That's what I want to know. Where do you get your money from for the majority of your jobs? And how much is that? God, I'm a volleyball coach. I play basketball on the side. I'm a part of the recreation men's league down at the Y. I don't give a damn. How much do you make? Is it more than her? Brandon says he has 2 kids, y'all. 2 kids. It's like, okay, people, that's fine. People gotta have kids. That's fine. And he says he falls hard. He's the type of person who falls, and that's evident, right? He got married after 6 months and was in a marriage for 10 years. So that's not far from what I would imagine he does. He definitely falls hard. He says that, MM tells him that, when she would talk to her ex-husband, or soon to be ex, because they're going through a divorce. Apparently it's not a swift process for divorce in this situation. He says that every time they would talk to each other about, whenever she would ask Ike about the future and future plans and all these things, he would be combative. He would stop talking. He wasn't open to talking about the future. And that's what Brandon, this new boo in Amem's life, was explaining to her. Like, oh, if he was acting like that, that means he wasn't, that means he had no plans for y'all in the future. And Amem's like, oh, yeah. I need Amem to get rid of those lashes. It feels like every time I see her, her eyes look swollen. I need some of y'all to let the lashes go. Why can't we just go back to mascara? I don't know. I just hate that look. So we get to Alan and Juan. They're having this catch-up moment with each other at some spot. Alan's talking about how he's exploring these urges he has, these sexual urges. Now, he needs to be mindful of the language he uses. Because immediately I went to gay. Immediately I said, oh, what's going on here? But he finally gave some words because he's like, yeah, I was on these dating sites and everyone has these acronyms. I'm like, what do you get to it? What are you saying? Acronyms? And then he finally said that he's been trying out BDSM. We know that's the masculinist. Hold on, am I saying it right? BDSM. Bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, and sadism. Yeah. Masculinist. Okay. So he says that he has been getting whipped, chained, ball gagged in his mouth, and he's been liking it. He described it as urges though. So I'm like, what does that actually mean? He's had an urge to get whipped? Okay. So we get to Madison and David. They're on this ice cream date. And I felt like the cameraman was being a little shady because as soon as they walked in, it looked like they zoomed in on those hot fries, those hot fries that David said he loves and that he was gifted with on his wedding day. And look, maybe Madison and David are meant for each other because they eat, sloppy together, even though they're big gym advocates apparently. So, hey, love wins, right? Madison is eating seductively off of David's bowl. She's like, "What girl? Have you had ice cream before?" Then David tells us that he ate her pussy last night. No, he said this morning he had it for breakfast. He's like, "Yeah, I love my dessert for breakfast." Oh, I don't want to say y'all like that. She tells us that she likes him for dessert too, and it was pretty good. David didn't really like the pretty good response, so he's like, "Pretty good." I said, "Pretty good." She's like, "No. There's nothing I would have changed. There's nothing I would have changed." They finally start talking about like boundaries and what their relationship will look like. David says that he doesn't want to see any other people, and Madison says specifically she doesn't want to be nagged. Now, she went into further detail. She's like, I don't want to be nagged about when I get home because I'll get home when I get home. That's what I said. I'm here, right? I made it back to the house, right? Okay, be grateful. That's what Madison said. So that gave me like a pause for cause. But David is just so happy to be there that he's not even looking at that as a pause moment. He's like, whatever you need. I never want to trigger you. Whatever if you need to come home every night at 3 a.m., Madison, I will support you. That's how David was in this moment. Because what do you mean you don't want to be nagged about what time you get home? Why are you always coming home at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning? Are you getting tacos again? Mem tells us she invites Carla and Camille over and she updates them on her new love. Camille tells us how she is laughing at Thomas's jokes and she thought she would have never get to that point because when she first heard his jokes, she thought they were so corny. Like, ma'am, stop joking like that. I guess he has dad jokes, I guess. I don't know. Nonetheless, she finds what was once unattractive about him to be attractive about him. And that's how you really like someone or love someone. When you laugh at their dumb jokes that you thought was only dumb, but now it's dumb and funny. Mem gets into who Brandon is. She says now that she's going through this divorce with Akechi, she feels free. She tells them that Brandon is tall. He's tall. He's buff. He's a firefighter. He actually goes to the gym and we talk about things. So clearly she was throwing shots at Akechi, which if you're moving on, move on. You know what I mean? Like if you're moving on, if you really feel free, if you feel unchained right now, why are we still throwing shots at Akechi? Why are we still making comparisons? Brandon comes to the house. He comes to the house and he gives this whole speech of the light and the tunnel, and he was in a dark place for such a long time, which low key, I was like, oh, what are you saying? But y'all peep when he came in, unless it was edited out, he didn't greet Camille and Carla. Like they didn't get up and hug him or he didn't lean down to hug them. I don't even know if he really waved. I think they just kind of smiled. It was weird. It's so weird. And Carla with her weird ass bobbling ass head. Okay. Yeah, so he tells us about like light at the end of the tunnel. He was in a dark place. Carla called him out on it. Very timely though. She's like, wait, so you didn't have light before? He's like, no, I didn't have light at all. It was dark. It was dark in that tunnel until I met Mem. She's the light. She's the light of my life. And Carla was like, okay. And I peeped. I understood that because I felt some type of way about that too. Like, what? So you mean to tell me you were depressed for a long time, then I came into your life and you're no longer depressed? That's a danger. Danger zone. Girl, you in danger. Shout out to Whoopi Goldberg. Seriously, I don't like that. I should not be the only reason why you're no longer depressed. You should have not been depressed before deciding to date me. You should have gotten that handled. You should have went to therapy, school, church, the Lord, the mosque, the streets, the strip club. You should have gotten that handled. Because what do you mean you was dark the whole time and then I came into your life and I was the light? You know how much pressure that is for someone to always be your light? What if I'm dark? What if I have a dark moment? Can you support me or am I only going to be the light for you? Am I the only light in this relationship? Child, no. They leave, they head off to their date, and I thought it was weird that Mem let Carla and Camille in her home and stay there as she left with her date. I felt like she was low-key trying to stunt, like, I'm going out on this, I'm moving on so much, I'm going out on this date, me and my man. That's her. If you don't kick out these guests out your house and then leave, like, y'all have to go right now. It was a weird moment. Maybe it was set up by producers. Nonetheless, we have a moment with Carla and Camille. And again, Camille with no opinion. Just like, oh, that's Camille. And then Carla's like, I don't like that. What you mean you had no light? That shit was funny. I'm like, okay, Carla with the comedian flair. She's like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that he said he doesn't have light. You should have had light before you met her. You should have had light before you met her. What do you mean you got no light? That shit was so funny, y'all. Go back to that scene. That was so. I literally had to rewind. I was cracking up. So Carla saw that as a red flag, and I absolutely agree. This is the second example of Brandon saying these lines that come across very manufactured. It comes across very performative. It comes across low-key fake. Because why didn't you have light before me? What are we saying right now? We got to Rafi is back. Rafi, hello. Rafi is fine, okay? And I love how he has his cousin's back. I love it. So Mem meets up with her cousin Rafi, and Rafi's like, okay, so what are you gonna do to get over Akechi? What are you doing to get over this nigga? This 2-month-old husband of yours. Rafi says that, okay, yeah, he knows Brandon because they start talking about Brandon. And he knows Brandon. Like, they've known each other for a long time. And he says, though I do know him and he seems like a good guy, still be cautious. Be cautious. And what I love about Rafi is he's not quick to be like, yeah, he's a good one. Because ultimately, you could still know someone for a long time. You could still think, oh, no, he's cool. He's good people. But you don't really know someone until you're with them, especially until you're living with them. Okay. So I think his advice was spot on. You still do need to be cautious. You still do need to be cautious about your heart. Guard it and then let the walls fall down as they may, but don't be so quick to be all in. Guess who joins them? Brandon comes back in. First of all, let's talk about this waitress. This waitress comes in. She has these dirty, crusty, ear crust iPhone headphones that's dangling. Not even an AirPod. The whole, like, the wired headphones is dangling on the burger. Y'all notice that? If we don't fire this damn waitress, that is so disrespectful. Like, how are you leaning in and your headphones are in my burger. Disgusting. No tip for you. Rafi calls out Brandon for his lines. He said verbatim, because Brandon said another line yet again. He says, what I feel for MM is real, and that's all I can say. That's all I can say, man. What I feel for her, all these feelings, they're real, and that's all I can say. Okay. Rafi, he's like, okay, cool, but I'm gonna still ask you questions because you got all these good lines. But the last guy, he didn't have any lines. He was a mute. And he's still like, either way. So he's saying you could be on one end of the spectrum or the other. Y'all could still be the same ain't shit niggas. That's what he was saying. He then talks about the kids. You got 2 kids. And he asked, ma'am, do you want kids? Because he has 2. He has 2. Rafi calls Akechi Bubba Smith. Now, I don't know what reference is that. I guess I'm not black enough. Oh, Bubba Smith. I thought it was a cartoon, but it's a person. He's from Orange, Texas. He's a football player, a defensive, and he was an actor for some time. Okay, there we go. Well, I guess he was a very talkative guy or very good with his words. So maybe, no, because he called it a catchy Bubba Smith. So maybe Bubba Smith wasn't much of a talker. Maybe that's what he was trying to say here. Nonetheless, I thought it was a funny name and I just started laughing. Rafi eventually gave Brandon his blessing and he says, all right, ma'am, I'm not trying to do this every 2 months. Yo, I bet if Rafi watched the scene or if he was there as a background audience and saw Brandon proposing to Mem, he would have been like, oh, shit, my God. So we get to that. Spoiler alert. Brandon gets down on his knee, y'all, and just bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Will you be my wife? Now, my question is, 1, where's the ring? There's no ring. How long have y'all really been talking? Even though it was just 2 or 3 days or 4 days since decision day, and even prior to decision day, Amem and Akechi met with the experts and they finally called it off. It's still relatively within 2 weeks. Let's say 2 weeks. So you mean to tell me you met with your 5th grade classmate who you barely remember and y'all kicked it off so well and he proposed to you with no ring and he's still married and going through a divorce and there's no clarity on what the future will look like for both of y'all? And hey, I said yes. She said yes. Okay, you like it. I love it. You like it. Amem, the thing with Amem, she wants to be a wife by any means. By any means, I will be a wife. I am a wife. Above else, I'm a wife. We got to David and Madison. They're at a hotel, Holiday Inn. And the amount of effort David is putting into this relationship, he loves his white woman. He loves this white woman in particular. You know what's so funny to me is Michelle's been asking this type of David energy, right? This fancy display. I want to be at, be in a high rise. I want to see the skyline. I want fancy chefs. I want a table covered table. I want to be at a hotel. He didn't do anything of that sort for Michelle, but he did it for Madison. They're celebrating Madison's 30th birthday. She looks much older. I don't think enough women understand that heavy makeup makes you look older. Heavy makeup, the lashes, the strong lip line, the heavy extensions. It's just, yeah, she looks much older than 30. The martini comes out, this espresso martini, and guess what's written on top of the martini? I don't know how they do those like messages with like the smoke. Anyway, it says, "You look so damn fine. I just want to eat you up. I just want to eat you up. Hey, I guess you've been eating. You've been doing it. It's been done, and it will continue to be done because." So that was a funny moment. I thought the producer set that up, but David said, I set that up. I was trying to be funny. Okay. There y'all go. There y'all go again. And y'all wonder why Michelle's mad. It's like you're just sticking it to her. Stick it to her. They said they're excited for what's yet to come. And guess what Madison does? She brings up Alan. If we're gonna move on together, I don't want to hear shit about your ex. I don't give a damn. Even if it's coming from a place of, I feel so bad for how we handle things. I feel sorry for him. He's a good guy. Like, I feel like David in that moment probably was thinking like, all right, fuck that nigga. It's me and you, boo. It's me and you. We get to and Brandon. They're at a ring shop. First of all, this ring shop does not look legit because why does it look like it's like in the middle of Broadway? Like we're in New York and we're in one of those dirty streets and they're just selling jewelry that's appearing to be real, but it's not. You could tell a lot about if jewelry is real or not based on the type of person who's behind the counter. Not to be racist, but this woman was wearing a regular black she was wearing a t-shirt. If you're working at a real jewelry with carats and gold and oh my, first of all, you need to be wearing diamonds on. Your hair needs to be slicked back. Your makeup needs to be on point. I felt like her appearance did not give the impression that this is real jewelry. That's all I'm saying. It did not look legit. Nonetheless, they pick up a ring. Brandon finally gets on his knee again, but this time with the ring. And he proposes to her yet again. They're saying, I love you. Amem is crying. Brandon does another line. He says, I want to be the one who could heal you. I want to be your healer. I want to heal you from all the pain, all the disappointment you've been through. And that really touched Amem. Amem was like, crying with her swollen eyes. She was crying. And I think that's a red flag for me too. I don't feel like it's anyone's responsibility to heal you, especially healing you from what the last guy did. I want you to be in this new relationship and only be about this new relationship. Don't bring up what Akechi did, what No Fetchy did, and what Eden did. Don't. I want you to even act like you had no exes. Don't even act like you had an ex. It's me and you. You're the only relationship I've been in. Seriously. Why are we talking about your ex? Huh? What that got to do with me? Yeah, I don't like that. I think it's no one's fault or no one's responsibility, I should say. It's hers. If she's still dealing with it and it's to a point where it's taking over her love life, go to therapy and figure that out. But it is not Brandon's responsibility to heal you. You got to heal you. Go to God. Amen brings up triggers and she says, things are really good right now. And of course, it'll be foolish of us to think that we won't have downtimes. Brandon talks about another made up Hallmark line. And he says, it's not about being perfect. It's about loving the imperfect person perfectly. Brandon, if you don't get the fuck out of my face. Brandon, get on my face. Look, I couldn't be a man. I could not be. I'm just not cheesy like that. I'm not cheesy. I'm not corny like that. I'd have been like, okay. I would have laughed in your face like, what the fuck are you saying right now? We get to come again. Camille and Thomas, we get it. You're moving in. Every damn scene of them is them moving in again. So this scene, they come in and they have these new towels, these new bath mats because he got too much cum stains on the bath mat. It looked dirty as hell. So they're just getting things in order. Thomas is late. Thomas lays down. Camille says, I'm about to go to the bathroom real quick. She goes to the bathroom. And at first I was like, why are you announcing you have to go pee? Like, why do you need to announce that you go to, like, if you go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Like, what? But as soon as she said that, it clicked in my mind, like, oh, she's going to finally wear lingerie. So she goes to the bathroom. She comes back out. Thomas is laid down, like, super tired, his old ass, ready to take a nap. She comes in and she got lingerie on under her robe, y'all. We didn't see and look, granted, maybe she doesn't want to show the public and she's on national TV. I'll give her that. But ma'am, you've been teasing us too. I want to see what you got going on. Let me see what that ass do. Let me see what that. Do you got a bubble butt? Bubble butt, bubble butt, bubble bubble. Like what? Hey, you've been teasing me. What you got going on under that robe, Camille? So yeah, he gets really excited. He suddenly has all the energy. You know, just like any man, you could be dog tired as soon as you interest them with some sex or a potential of sex happening. That's them. Oh Lord, that's so funny. Okay, so we get to Madison and David again. They're at the hotel. There are balloons everywhere in the hotel room. It's very well done. I think David did a good job, and the producer, low key, but it was very sweet. So many balloons. He had them in purple because purple's her favorite color. So I thought it was thoughtful. I think he really does like her, and he ends up saying, "I love you." He's like, "Look, I know how I feel, and I know my feelings are real, and I just want to tell you, I love you. I love you, Madison. I love you." Shit. So Madison gets into. At this point, I'm thinking, is she just saying things that are talking points that the producers are trying to put into her to say? Because she does kind of repeat herself. She says that, you know, she doesn't want to be taken for granted, and I guess that's an insecurity of hers that she's been taken for granted before. And she said something that gave the impression that she is vying for the approval of others, which I find that to be a red flag. So we get to Thomas again. Thomas's birthday is here. They're all gathered here together again. Definitely a paid scene for sure. And Mem walks in with her fiance Brandon. And before she even said anything, she's greeting everyone. Madison was the one who called it out because she sees this rock on her finger. And Mem's like, is this here? Mem is, again, I think she idolizes being a wife so bad that it really doesn't matter who she's married to or who she's engaged to. I don't think it matters. Because there was no scene or there was no confessional with her telling us about what her plan is. Like, okay, what is the future looking like between you and him? And how do you know this is right? You know, do you want to take your time? Did you kind of talk about it with your friends who seem to be very strong-minded or just like stable? Like, do you talk to Rafi about it? Can we talk to Rafi about it? I don't know. But yeah, she's very happy. Everyone is shocked. No one is really like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. Everyone's just like, and Camille in her confessional, she's like, I was shooketh. Girl, just talk. I'm shooketh. Shut up and have an opinion, Camille. Michelle is straight. What I love about Michelle is she's gonna tell you how she feels. So when Amem showed her the ring, Michelle was like, okay. So does he know about? It's like, yeah. So Amem tells her, yeah, he's going through a divorce. I'm going through a divorce. And Michelle's like, oh, okay. Like, so you guys are on the same page. And she was trying to say that to make Amem feel better because in the confessional, Michelle says it's too soon. And she's like, I'm not going to lie and say that I don't feel like it's, not too soon because she feels like it is too soon. And why can't they wait? Like, what's the rush? And the timing of him still going through a divorce. First of all, how long has it been? And second of all, I think her going through a divorce compared to him going through a divorce is two totally different things. I feel like because this process is married at first sight, her longevity of being in going through a divorce phase may be much shorter than the realistic way of going through a divorce. So what I want to know is how long has Brandon been sleeping on his sister's couch? And why has it been that long? Because I already know it was a long time. Camille shouts out Thomas and gives him the cute little speech. Alan offers support to Brandon and Mem. Like, yeah, I support you guys. Alan is so sweet. Alan, you don't know this man from a can of worm. Talk about you support him. Okay. Madison's talking to us in the confessional talking about no one supports me and David. Madison, get out. Madison, what did you expect? Get out of my face. Stupid and dumb. Stupid and dumb. Madison says her and David are setting boundaries and they're being intentional. They're saying this out loud. Alan's hearing it and he's scoffing. He's like, Alan, do you have something in your throat? Brandon's looking like, huh? David leaves early. Oh, yeah, Brandon. Oh, that's why I wrote. I'm like, who's Brandon? Mem's fiance. That's who. Yeah, you could tell Brandon was just like playing along, but you don't need support from these strangers. Like, who are they to you? David leaves early because he has to, unfortunately, I have to work. Unfortunately, David, what do you do for work? You leaving early all the time. What do you do for work? So Madison's staying, she's still there. But prior to him leaving, he's about to walk out. He hears, so Carla says, ciao. And I think Michelle says, or was it Carla still? But something was said along the lines of, okay, ciao, ciao, loser. Like just kind of being kind of mean girlish. It was funny in the moment, but looking back at it now, I'm thinking Carla has a lot of mouth all of a sudden. Not to say that she couldn't have this mouth before, but it seems like she's really letting herself loose since decision day. Like she's really coming forward with opinions, with thoughts, saying, I don't really trust, talking about Brandon. Yeah, I feel like her opinion is valid because I agree. Because that's why I think it's valid because I agree. But nonetheless, I feel like Carla has been really, I don't give a damn anymore. I'm divorced. I could speak how I want to speak. Akechi finally shows up. Finally. Oh no. So before David leaves, he talks to Michelle. Can I just talk to you for a second? Michelle's like, no. What are you guys talking about? But of course, he's gonna take it upon himself and talk to her still. And he says, and I'll just say what I gotta say, and I'll go. He's like, I do want to apologize again for how I treated you and how I handled things, and hope you can send my apology. And have a great rest of your day. Oh, David. Michelle's like, okay, thank you. Well, have a good rest of your day. Akechi finally arrives. Akechi gets here. Brandon is sizing this black man up. Like, who that nigga right there? That's Akechi. That's my ex-husband. Stop acting like you don't know. You know what's so weird, though? Throughout this scene, Brandon and Amem are tonguing each other down, just trying to give the impression, not only to Akechi, because this happened before Akechi arrived, it seemed like Amem wanted to appear that she is so happy, she is so unbothered, and she is so in love, and she's about to be a wife. And that's why I feel like it's giving paid actor. Now, at the end of this episode, of course, they give you a preview for the next one, for the reunion. And it seems like she is still engaged and maybe they're finally married. I don't know, but maybe maybe it was real. I can eat my words. But nonetheless, it still kind of gave desperation. Like, I really want to appear that I'm good. Let's make out in front of them. Let's just be totally oblivious to our surroundings. It's just kind of rude. Brandon introduces himself to Akechi. He's like, what's going on, boss? I'm Brandon. Mind you, he's saying this to him while Akechi's back is still to him. Like, Akechi, moving like Eeyore. He's barely speaking, barely saying hi to people, and you see Brandon's loud ass in the background talking about what's going on, boss? I'm Brandon. It cuts to a scene right at the commercial talking about Brandon. He goes back because the scene when Brandon says, what's going on, boss? I'm Brandon. We don't really see if Akechi turned around and dapped him up. It just felt like it was a random, I don't know. It just didn't appear that there was a full-on introduction. Because shortly thereafter, we see Brandon telling Akechi again. Like, he goes up to him. He's like, just letting you know, I'm Amem's fiance. Just letting you know. What? So Akechi goes on and say, okay, congrats, man. And he's visibly showing us that he does not understand why you're telling me this. This is weird. This is some weirdo shit. Akechi says he's leaving early because he has a date. And, it's open season. Akechi, ain't nobody trying to date you. Goodbye. In the background, you see Amem and Brandon. Amem's legs opening up, about to get fingered. Like, girl, Act like you got some sense. A man tells Brandon in advance, hey, I'm about to go talk to my ex-husband, just letting you know. Like she gotta coax him or something. He's like, all right. So she goes up to Akechi and she's like, hey, Akechi, can I borrow you for a second? Can I borrow you for a second? Akechi says, I'm good. So awkward. Akechi says, I'm good. In front of everyone. Everyone's already like in this circle. So awkward. So of course, no one wants to talk aside. So I'm gonna talk in front of everyone. So Mem then goes on to apologize. She said, I apologize for my reaction. I apologize. And I had nothing but care. I had nothing but care. Now, was she referring to what happened in that last scene? Well, in the last episode, when a man was talking about accountability. Stop talking. Accountability. When she was doing that, I don't know. It was just a weird moment because it's like, okay, what are you apologizing for exactly? Can you refer to, because if you was apologizing for that moment, she should have said, I apologize for how I spoke to you when we was at Juan's warehouse. I let my emotions get the best of me, and I apologize. I'm sorry for that. But there was no clarity as to what she was apologizing for. So I bring this up because it made me wonder, were there moments in their relationship or their marriage throughout that attested to what Akechi was saying about a man making him feel small? Because I feel like her apology was his overall apology. Like, I apologize for everything, for reacting the way that I've done, for speaking to you the way that I've done. Like, I felt like she was apologizing for just their whole time being married and all the times that she may have been belittling him. Akechi talks to us in the confessional. He's talking about, you know what, I was right. I feel vindicated because all the times I felt like something was off. This now explains that, because how are you already engaged? How are you already in this new budding engagement with someone about to get married again and low-key not even divorced yet? And he says verbatim that he thinks Amem always wanted, or only wanted, all she ever wanted was a plug and play husband. And I think he's right. I know we hate it. I get it. But he's just the same with Michelle. Michelle was a bitch towards David. Absolutely. And she is still justified and warranted in feeling bothered and upset about this infidelity square that took place during this process. Akechi was an A-double-S hoe. But he has a point here that he knew from the beginning that Amem only wanted a plug-and-play husband. He says he doesn't think it'll last. He gives it 3 months. Not Akechi talking about relationships not lasting. Let's talk about that book of poems you have for a wife that doesn't exist. But okay. We end off with Alan calling out Madison for her text to him. He's like, why did you feel the need to text me? Did I say stop texting? Did I say to stop texting me, bitch? Bitch, did I say stop texting me? He says he feels no need for closure and doesn't want to hoe no mo. That's what I ended off in, because he starts telling the whole cast that he's been having sex and oh man, I've been having so much sex. So yeah, there we have it. 8 pages worth of notes. Let me know what you think. Do you think Brandon was a paid actor for Amem? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I can't wait to talk to y'all again next week for this Married at First Sight review. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.